I don't know. Like for me, I can't help and but to wonder why there's so many toxic relationships, like especially in the news, being publicized, like in public eye for us to see. And I often contemplate, like, is this now happening? Is it getting worse? Or, what exactly has happened in the structure of the, human race, if you will, that there are so many people in toxic relationships. And it's not just men or women, it's both. You can't even I can't even see races, you know what I mean? Because I can mostly speak for black for the black people for now, but I know even in other races there's definitely toxicity that exists in there just because of, culture norms and different things of that nature. So I was looking, as usual, scrolling through, and it was a couple, LaTruth, I'm not sure, LaTruth, and I won't lie, I'm not familiar, I'm not really sure about them. I have not watched them. I didn't even know they existed. So I'm just like blindly like, what the hell's going on? And I'm not, even though I'm not like well versed in them, it was just like when I just saw the video, like it was just a conversation. And now this is him, the actual guy, the man himself, posting this picture or posting this video on his channel, like having a conversation with his wife. Like, and you'd be thinking like, okay, it's normal, but it's not. It's one of those intimate conversations. It's one of those conversations, especially like somebody who's trying to gaslight you, and you know when you don't get the whole picture. You know when they only start filming like after something started to happen, or they don't. They're telling the story in their way to kind of get it like the audience on their side. I don't if you get what I'm saying. So it came up very much like that. Like he was just very much selling a narrative. Like, no, you're wrong. Even though I did this to you, you're not telling them why I did this to you. You know, did this, and was that even reason enough for me to do what I did to you? So supposedly, and I didn't watch the complete live again, but I watched a certain part where he was having a conversation with her, his Miss LaTruth or LA Truth, however you want to call it, and she was explaining how he took like one of those plastic bins and he put it over her head and he was like pushing it down on her head while she was sitting on the floor. He was saying that supposedly she was kicking and all this other stuff, and it was just like basically he said she said kind of situation, but you could tell like she was hurt. You could tell that like it's something that's going on. Like this was not normal because like for a big part of the conversation wasn't even her speaking. It was just him kind of like lecturing her and explaining to her like, no, you shouldn't be feeling this way. Or like, like you were wrong. The only reason, oh, you shouldn't, it didn't hurt that much. You're making this seem so much bigger than what it is. It's you, it's you, it's you. Like, there's not even that big of a deal. We just need to sit down and talk about it. And it was just like, and he was basically just like, her her argument or her biggest cry for anything was just the fact that like he was saying that she was lying, and she was like, I wasn't even lying, and you trying to make it seem like I was lying. And just watching that just kind of broke me in a way, like, but not, it just I was very much, it touched a soft spot, if you will. You know what I mean? Like I said, in one of my previous videos, if you take a look at my toxic relationships or whatever, my story time, I'm gonna have a part two to that too. And then part two is definitely more diving into like this another relationship I actually went into and figuring out why I shouldn't be in these type of relationships, what's happening, and what's drawing me to that energy. But it's also made me realize like, why is there so much toxicity out there? For women, I hear a lot about like narcissistic men, and I'm like, did narcissism just become a thing, or has it always existed, but because of social media and like the internet is now become more prominent in the the human eye? Because I don't understand it. And I'm just like, and then even like on the women's side of it, and and it's weird because I can understand the toxic side from like the woman aspect, I guess, because maybe I guess because basically I am one, so it might be easier for me to understand that aspect, to be like, okay, you know women with daddy issues and the way the social media and the just media in itself and has played its part in how they marketed to young female girls to behave a certain way. And I could see where it came from, you know what I mean? But I'm like, okay, I know men have always had a certain nature about them, as far as maybe cheating and things like that, or maybe not always being as honest or truthful in relationships. But it's just like this whole narcissistic behavior, this abusive behavior that I'm finding out abusive, not only just physically, emotionally, like with words, or just not being able to communicate effectively. It seems like it's more and more happening, and I just don't understand. I don't understand. And it's just like, I think mental health, it goes back into that, where just like you have, first of all, mental health, and because you go like Nia Long. People look at Nia Long, who was it, Halle Berry, and certain people, and be like, they should never be cheated on. And I be telling my friends like, listen, they a woman just like me and you. So maybe we looking around for certain things in a man, men looking around for certain things in a woman. And not because you so beautiful, that doesn't mean you might have it. But then again, he shouldn't be with you. But so that's a whole nother conversation. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's just like you have these women, and even with the guy, LaTruth or LaTruth or whatever you want to call it, these women are beautiful. You look at them, they have the body, got the figure, they have the money, they have everything. And it's like you almost think, and you're looking at them like they have everything that they want. You know what I mean? They're beautiful and everything, like I said. But then it's just like you look go in the inner, workings of their relationships, and that shit is insane. Would you even want that for yourself? And it's just like, what makes a person feel like they have to tolerate that? What makes anybody feel like this is what you deserve or this is what you're worth? Now, also, there are people who are toxic themselves. So they create this kind of nature around them. You know what I mean? And I'm talking about women too. There are women who are toxic themselves, where it's like they always create this kind of drama atmosphere around them, and they always have to be in the midst of something, and they almost thrive in that. Like if things are too calm, it just seems like it's not right. You know what I mean? And I think, again, it just goes back to that mental health conversation, where too many of us and have not dealt with so many issues, especially with childhood traumas and things like that. And it's just been a cycle within your family. So it's embedded, and it's just stuck like in your family line, to the point where for you to even try to escape doesn't even make sense, where you don't even think that you need to escape from anything. But escape does need to happen. It's it does, because it's just this cycle is detrimental just to the family structure itself. You know what I mean? It's going to be unhealthy for culture itself. It's going to, and when I say the culture, I mean just like human being relationships, like having a healthy relationships, and showing examples to people, and especially kids and youth, and what they see, and they think a healthy relationship is supposed to be like. It no longer is going to be that supportive man and woman. It's going to be this toxic shit that people look online and they see, because people have, it looks like glitter and gold, and they have like the nice matching outfits, they have the nice watches, they have the nice house, they have the nice this, and they're broadcasting their life for it to be seen. Means like, oh my god, like these people have it all. But we also need to stop idolizing these people and feeling like this is like goals. I've said that before. Like, nobody should be your goal. Your only goal should be within your own self and relationship, and your standards that you have upheld for you and your partner, and that's it. It shouldn't go no further than that, like, because you don't know what anybody else has to go through in order to keep that relationship alive. And you should know that, because you know how much it takes within your own relationship to keep it alive. And sometimes you don't, people are going through way much more than that. And so just going back, where you have like these beautiful people, and you have like the Nia Longs and stuff like that, and Halle Berry's, and they getting cheated on, or the Beyonces or whoever, and they get cheated on, or they get played, or somebody like has a baby on them or something like that. And you wonder how. It's just like, it's so much more to the picture than just beauty. And I think even with men, it's important that men not only look for that beauty, that trophy wife, that what society says you're supposed to have on your side, that standard of a woman. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying you don't have a type, but at the same time, you have to know that it has to be beyond that picture. It has to be okay. Like, so if I open this book right now, that person, and I try to read deeper into them, am I going to be interested in anything? Can I sit down and talk with you later at night? Can I, if I have a hard day at work, am I able to tell you about it, talk about it? If I feel like I'm not feeling supported in this relationship, is this a conversation I can talk to you about? And as a woman, on the flip side, a man should be offering the same thing to you. It should be that way, where you feel like in any healthy relationship, you should always be able to be yourself. I think that's always the biggest sign. Once you're able to be your true self and you're able to talk like it's true self, you're able to have a conversation, to converse, and just be within yourself and not feel like you have to question yourself often. Once you're questioning yourself, I, I feel like it's a time where you either got to take a break. Maybe it's you, maybe it's them, but take a step back and kind of look at the bigger picture. But there's no way we should be having, and I say this, I guess, like in the black community, because I'm not sure, like I said, about like in other communities as well, but especially in the black community, and after seeing like this guy and this relationship, and I know, there's other people that I definitely want to talk about as well with these toxic followings and just I guess like a yearning to belong, a yearning to want, and whatever it is, maybe because our family structure is not as solid, so there's a lot of emptiness left where people feel like they need to be validated and they want to belong somewhere, they want to have a group, and they want to be able to reach out. Especially like loneliness right now, I think is big with a lot of people where they need a bond, they need that thing to fill that gap for them. But these toxic relationships, these red flags that we're seeing, man, woman, or child, is just, we need to get the help that we need. We really need to get the help that we need because I think it's only getting worse. I think social media only perpetuates the idea even more of like, letting somebody who is narcissistic, for example, create this idea of grandeur about them, and they're able to have support and feel like they're okay and continue these bad habits. And that's the thing too with social media. You can have a fan base that will sit there and support bad habits. And you have to be very careful about that. You know what I mean? So it's just like this world right now we live in, mental health is so important because you could get caught up in the fantasy of the internet. And the internet is very good at that. It creates this world with likes, comments, and all this support, if you will. But you also need the realness. The realness cannot be, it cannot be erased because then otherwise nobody will be a real humble human being. We're going to have a lot of chaos out of here. And it's going to be in different forms, in the forms of our relationships and even in workspaces and just normal everyday life. It's going to be chaotic. It'd be hard to form even just a normal relationship. So it's just sad to see, and you know what I mean. I might dive deeper if I look more into like this LA Truth, LaTruth, or however you say it, couple. But I really just want to dive into like these toxic relationships and how I keep seeing that like it arises, and even just the idea of just feeling like what a healthy relationship should be like and what we should be striving for as a human being, as a person, and for your own self. Like we should just be wanting more at this moment and to be more at a peace rather than at war, Like we need to find those answers and really dig deep down and deal with our own issues because we all have them. And that's the thing, we all have a story. So don't be afraid to talk about your story. Don't be afraid to deal with it. You can't just say like, oh, it's not me, because sometimes it is you. But I thank you for listening and I hope you have enjoyed your time. I'll definitely be having more episodes out. Take a look at the other episodes on the channel. Like, subscribe, comment. I definitely will reply. Until next